Okay, and welcome back to part two of our stress workshop, where I'm going to show you the tools to overcoming stress for good. So part one was all about what stress is, where it comes from, and this one is going to be about how we reduce the stress. So I'm going to show you several sort of strategies on how you can do that, and some very simple ones as well. So you can implement them straight away. All right, so let's get back into the main sort of part of the presentation. All right, so just to remember where we were at, this is the difference between strength training and cardio training. So strength training, anabolic, build and repair; cardio training, catabolic, it's destructive. Pretty much everything on this cardio side, we really don't want. If you're already sort of got a lot of stress from, home, relationships, work, kids are draining you, you've got to drive them everywhere, not eating like you should be. All those things are going to sort of set you up for problems. All right, so if you just sort of add, all it might need is just one more of thing to tip the scale in its favor of bad, and then that's when things start to happen to you that you don't want. So what you really need to do is work out, okay, what is my current stress level, how to reduce it. So there's 3 steps you really want to use. Identify what your main stress is, right? Then use some of the tools we're going to provide you now and to help you get rid of it or reduce it. And then thirdly, to practice, but to create it as a permanent habit, because just because you know it doesn't mean you can do it, right? Just like anything, it's awkward at the first, but when you stick to it and you keep trying and trying, eventually it gets easier and you get better at it. And that's when you start to really see some amazing benefits. So let's have a look at the tools. Let's open the toolbox. So first thing I'd start with is to try and identify it. I'd get a big sheet of paper and write down everything that stresses you out, or now that you've been empowered with some information, list all the things that would be regarded as stress. So remember, if you're not exercising, that's stressful. If you're over-exercising, that's stressful. If you're skipping meals, stressful. If you're eating processed food, stressful. Coffee, alcohol, all those things, they're all problems, all right? So break them into 4 categories of mental stress, which is the one that most people think of, into physical stress, nutritional stress, and then all the other ones that were chemical, thermal and electromagnetic, create that as its own category with the 3 of them in there. List all the things down and then work out which one are the main ones that you really want to work on. If you're a client of ours at the moment, you can complete our lifestyle questionnaire and we can help you to determine this a lot easier. If you're not a client and you want to become a client, send me an email at nick@noregretspt.com.au and we'll work out a time to catch up. All right, step 2. Now that you've got your list, you want to start working through the tools that I'm going to give you in a second to reduce these stress levels. So I always sort of recommend start with the easiest ones first and work your way through. Remember, practice makes perfect, so you're trying to create new habits so that your strategy becomes your new you or your new normal. All right, so the sooner you start, the easier, the quicker you'll get finished. So the simple stuff, like drink more water, quickest way to detoxify yourself. Get outside in the sun more often, it always makes you feel good. Vitamin D you get from the sun. Most people are vitamin D deficient from being inside too often. Go for a walk 30 minutes each day. It doesn't have to be fast, it doesn't have to be hard, just has to be nice and gentle. Again, you might be out in the sun as well. Number 4, get to bed on time, which is a big one and one that most people don't do very well when they're stressed out because their body's just on permanent overdrive. So when you don't get to bed on time, bad things will happen to you, right? So here's a chart that I borrowed from Paul Chek's How to Eat, Move, Be Healthy book, and it shows you the hormonal response that you would have if you're normal. You can see up the top here, anabolic and catabolic. The anabolic hormone's the white one, the catabolic one's the black one. And you can sort of see the black one comes up early in the day to wake you up, but as the day goes throughout and the sun goes down, the black line goes down and stays quite low while the anabolic ones come up to do all the repair. See here, physical repair, psychological repair. And then you start again the next day, same thing. The people who are overstressed, you can see what this looks like now. Like there's hardly any repair, and there's just a lot of damage done throughout the entire day. And that's where that sort of ongoing cycle will wear you out real quick. All right, so you must get to bed on time. If you're staying up too late, you're going to just tap into your repair time significantly. All right, so it's an easy thing to change. Just start doing it. Another one easy to do is laugh more. Research shows it's impossible to be sad, angry, or depressed while laughing. So go to a comedy show, hire a DVD comedy, or go to the movies, or even go with your friends, have a good laugh. Just try to make it a regular occurrence the more stressed out you are. And you'll definitely feel some physical benefits from doing that. All right, so these are all simple things that you can work on that will help you straight away. Now, what are some other tools that we use for mental stress and stinking thinking? So some of the more difficult, well, this is an easy one, but we're starting to delve into the more difficult things like financial stress and worrying things about that are in your head. So you've tried all the other things and they've sort of helped to a point, but haven't sort of got rid of it completely for you. So this is an excellent book to read, very easy. You probably read it in about an hour. It comes with a hypnosis CD, and this has been very effective with helping many clients in the past, and I use it myself, as does Melissa. And yeah, it definitely brings you into a real state of calm. And if you apply some of his strategies in there, you can really make some headways. And like I said, many people have really good results from just doing this and this alone. Other great books, Think and Grow Rich, which is a book written in the time of the Great Depression. So a lot of people were very stressed then, fair to say. So it gives you a lot of ideas on how to, it's not about growing rich with money, it's about growing rich with health. Kiss the Frog, this is a great book about turning negatives into positives, just how you perceive things. Again, Brian Tracy has great books to read on all this sort of stuff. So, a very easy book to read. And sort of it creates a bit of fun as well, as does Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. So this one's more about explaining what stress does to you. It's a bit more of a comprehensive book. The other two are a bit more providing you more with tools, but this one sort of gives you information behind what it does to you and using analogies with animals and how they don't think like we do. All right, so let's quickly review the stress buster exercise. All right, so this is a really quick sort of worksheet that I've used many times before that can provide you with some real insight into how you can overcome things. So, okay, so really what you want to do is write down your problem that you have right now that you're worrying about and be very, very detailed, specific about what it is. Once you've written that down, then step 2 is write down what's the worst possible outcome you can think of if you can't solve that problem. And then once you've written down what that worst outcome is, ask yourself, is this likely to happen? And be really honest with you, is that realistic at all? And 99 times out of 100, it's no. And actually 100 times out of 100, it's no, because the worst thing you can think of is usually a fantasy. But that's what your mind tends to focus on, that actual worst outcome, and you start to live it out as if it's true. Always remember, anything in the real world has to happen in your imagination first. So if that's true and you're seeing it in your head over and over, you start to believe it and you live it physically. All right, so now that you've done that, the next step is to ask yourself, is worrying about it making things better, or is worrying helping me to solve the problem? What does worrying do for me? And what am I getting out of just worrying? And you'll realize that you're getting nothing out of worrying, and it doesn't help you solve anything. So when you sort of come to that realization, and we sort of say, oh yeah, we already know that, but we get caught up into doing it anyway. This is where, even though you'll know this, you're not doing it if you don't practice it. So now that you've sort of identified that worrying about it is not helping you at all, and you've identified your worst possible outcome is completely unrealistic, this is when you move into the fun part. And the fun part is what we call making a movie. So if we know that imagining makes things come true, then this is also true for the positive. So what you need to do is now think of 10 possible solutions to your problem. All right, the first 2, 3, maybe even 4 will be pretty easy. to come up with. The first one's usually the most obvious one and the most likely the best one, but if that fails, you need to have backup plans. You need to have more than one backup plan. You need to have 9. And so these last 6 or so will be the ones that you really have to be creative and come up with. You have to sort of put a bit of effort into thinking how you're going to come up with something different to what you've already tried, which is exactly what your brain does when you're thinking on the negative things. It comes up with many different endings. So basically you're trying to think of many happy endings instead of many bad endings. All right. Once you've got 10 of them, then it's just a matter of going through the list and using each one until you've solved them. Usually you won't get past 4 or 5. Hopefully the first one's enough, but but mentally your brain is just going into the mindset of like solving problems instead of worrying. So this is exactly the mindset people are successful in sports, business, and inventors are classics. They don't see problems, they only see solutions. All right, so once you've done that, a good idea is to put some magazine pictures or JPEG images of what you're seeing in your head, because your brain sees things in images, not in text. So whatever you write down, try to create them as a picture. All right, so there's a stress buster exercise that you can start using straight away. Okay, let's get back into it. Okay, so moving ahead, we've now identified where we're at and we've reviewed the stress buster exercise. So what we want to work on now is exercise. So exercise is essential for reducing stress, but there's a few things to keep in mind. It's stress reducing as long as it is something you actually want to do. So if you're trying to force someone to do something, exercise creates more stress than relieves it. Weight training, as we've discussed, is way better than cardio, and walking is also great. All right, so ideally you would want someone to spend more time doing weight training than any other sort of form of exercise other than walking. But if they don't want to do it, then do something that they do want to do. At least something, getting them moving is better than nothing. All right. And remember to train and not drain. So anabolic workout includes, so if we're doing weight training, for example, we wouldn't go and do a circuit and or a class for that matter, or boxing or something. We'd want to do big bang exercises like deadlifts and squats. They have huge muscle activation and also lots of movements that have extension in them. So you see in the picture here, that's a picture of Nathan doing a pelvic bridge, bringing him into extension, opening him up. That position here is like the position of like confidence, good self-esteem, which couples itself with being not stressed, being very relaxed and calm. Key for doing weight training, if you're very stressed out, is do more sets and less reps with lots of time of rest. So you might do, like, for example, 3 to 5 sets of 6 reps with 2 minutes of resting. Occasionally I might do things like Tai Chi or stretching in between sets, which we call working in. I'm going to provide you with a video of a Tai Chi workout that I do. That only takes a couple of minutes. So Tai Chi, meditation, yoga, all great options of forms of exercise. So I'm going to show you this exercise in a second called Gathering Chi, and also another one called the 8 form. Nutrition, stress. So this is another thing you want to be looking at. So strategies to reduce stress by nutrition. Remember that when you're eating too much when you're stressed, which is a common thing, the diet becomes very catabolic as well. So, this is not good, because when someone's stressed, their hormones are elevated and the blood is shunted away from their internal organs into your arms and legs, so you can pretty much fight or flight. But this basically means your digestive system is shut down. So the more stressed you are, the more shut down the digestion is. This is a disaster, because eating more food causes the digestive system to become disabled, so you can't actually break down the foods that you're overeating. So, which leads to, inflammation, which leads to, food intolerances becoming a problem, and then just creates, it's like a massive snowball that one keeps building on top of the other. And if you continue in that way, then disease is the end result. So the state of anxious basically means the whole mind is being wound up. Remember, the word disease means too much energy wound up. So when you're anxious, it causes increased energy consumption and leads to blood sugar fluctuations, which encourages you to look for quick energy like coffee, sugar, and junk food, etc. So remember I said before, the easiest way to detoxify yourself is start drinking more water, and it'll stop you eating too much too, because it'll fill your guts up. Protein, protein is the opposite of carbohydrates. It's like the building block of muscle. So you want to start eating more protein. So you've got to drink more water, eat more protein. We know a lot about what protein does, so I won't go into too much detail on this. So if you try and reduce your sugar and eating more protein, because without it, body's going to have to eat itself. All right, and you can see from some of the stats that I've put up on the screen here about protein and amino acids, how important that it is for you. When you have lots of information, you'll have some more stuff about protein, but when you have some more too much inflammation, you'll need to have more omega-3 in your diet to help you repair itself and stop your body from eating itself, which is what it feels like it needs to survive. Remember, it's catabolic. So omega-3, there's two types. There's two types of essential fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. Most people are eating 25 times more omega-6 than omega-3. What you should be eating is only about 4 to 1. When you're eating like that, it promotes chronic inflammation, leading to numerous problems, so weight gain, diabetes, depression. So good source of omega-3, salmon, scallops, flax meal, chia seeds, fish oils, oysters, olive oil. Start eating more of them. And so to summarize everything, we've got drink more water, eat more protein, eat more green leafy vegetables, eliminate your sugar and eliminate your processed foods. Now, if you're doing that in combination with the stress buster exercise, doing more weight training, walking every day, getting to bed on time, you're on a great strategy and a plan to reduce your stress for good. All right, so I hope this video helps you. There could have been a lot more I could have shown you, but I wanted to try and keep it fairly short so that you could use some of the stuff straight away and get into it. Any questions, go to www.noregretspt.com.au and we'll send me an email and we can hook up and get you started. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.